At IFA in Las Vegas in a fancy suite with the person that is the heart and soul of franchising.
Up next,
Between about 18 and 55 million in one location.
Two franchisees. What I think is most impressive, and the audience needs to hear this,
We are set to go over $1 billion for 2026.
this episode sponsored by SEO Samba. Empower your franchise with predictable results and AI-driven marketing.
Adria Hartwig, my good friend, Citywide Facilities Solutions, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's exciting. It's nice weather here and back home in Kansas City, I think they're getting dumped on in snow. So we're excited to be here.
No snow here. So what do you love about IFA? What makes IFA a must for you every year?
I think that the learning opportunities and the networking, it's an incredible industry to be a part of. And so if you miss IFA, you're going to get like major FOMO that you missed so much from. I think that, we're going to hear from Matt at opening session today, and,
Who's the current president?
Yeah, right. And I think that there's so much change politically with franchising and business ownership that you just don't want to have your pulse off and miss IFA. I don't, at least.
And we're not going to get into politics as much as I do love talking about it, but it does matter who's in the White House for franchising, and we'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
As you know, I interviewed Ian Hosfeld, a top franchisee of yours, on my show Franchise Road Trip. And I have to share this with the audience because it was incredible what I learned about Citywide Facility Solutions. You're the head of franchise development, so the folks listening that are looking at business ownership, they might be looking to start their own thing. They might be looking to do an acquisition if they can ever get their hands on one. Sure. But I can't believe Ian got lucky. He did get a resale.
Yeah.
He jumped in there. He did over 20 million last year. He told me that personally. Mm-hmm. And you could really do incredibly well with Citywide. You need that B2B sales experience. So why don't you share with the audience, we know you're not right for everybody. I know you're not right. I'm only sending my candidates to you that actually have sales experience, because I know if they don't have sales experience, they're not going to be successful. This is totally a lead by example franchise. Yeah. So what is it? I mean, your top franchisees are doing over 20 million. What? How?
Lance, first of all, our AUV for our top quartile is 23.7 million. So I need you to get your facts straight.
Sorry.
Yeah.
23.7
million.
And that's the top 25% of franchisees.
Yeah, so between about 18 and 55 million in one location. And so I think that needs to be really dialed in, because people think that, do they have 10 territories? No, they do not. They're empire builder territories. They're over 1 million in population usually, with a building count that aligns with that. So there's an incredible opportunity. There's really, sky's the limit. Our CEO, Jeff Odo, is going to be speaking at convention and really wants all of his current franchisees to rethink what they're even capable of. He has, as some of the flagship location is our largest revenue location, and there's some they're nipping at his heels. And what he wants to see is some of those that never thought that was possible to get to those revenue benchmarks. We're looking at doubling those. So, I mean, there's just a lot of initiatives inside of our brand to open some minds and make sure that everybody knows we don't want to have that limited mindset that we're stopping at those $20, $30 million locations. We're going for it at Citywide.
Absolutely incredible. You mentioned Jeff Odo. This brand was started in 1961.
Yeah.
And it's not owned by private equity.
Yeah, so I just listened to Adam Meet the Team Day about a week ago. We were in our cafe and we had some candidates in, and he was talking about how his father, Frank, really got into janitorial is because Frank's father had grocery stores, and there was some issues with some embezzlement from Frank's best friend. So there's like this whole history that was so fun and interesting to listen to, just kind of how we all got here. And he said that they just could not keep the grocery stores clean. They just had so much trouble having that facilities maintenance. And so when the grocery stores went under, Frank decided to start Citywide. And that's how he was solving a problem. And that's how that started.
And boy, did he. So this is all about, I mean, I know you have a national accounts team. That's impressive. They fly all over the country talking to building owners and handing business to franchisees. What I think is most impressive, and the audience needs to hear this, is that you have markets available right now with $1 million in revenue that corporate's managing, because you're not going to say no to the business.
Well, I just want to correct you, Lance. A lot of times, the nearby franchisee is managing those.
Okay, or the nearby franchisee.
That's right. That's right. So it's one or the other. And then the franchisee, once they're certified, we have 3 different academies that they'll go through at the support center in Lenexa, Kansas. And so once they are certified and we feel that they're educated, they have all the tools that they need to really go out and manage those accounts. We don't want to have them, take over those accounts and then not be able to perform, because, the current franchisees, if they mess up an account that everyone has, the other franchisees are going to be upset if they, don't do a good. So we make sure that they're fully trained and have the ability to go out there and do good work and follow the model. And then they get to take over those accounts. So it's an incredible jumping off point. It's not, I will temper you and the audience with, I would like everybody to understand that it's an incredible opportunity, the business that's already in those markets, but it's not plug and play. I still need those B2B sales killers. I still need those owners and operators to understand that they still are going to be responsible for the heavy lift of going out there and still selling and still doing that business development, because the model starts to do what they want it to do, what we want to do, all the things when they get to that like $5 to $7 million range. And so, that's always the goal, is how fast can we get them there. And so if you do have a location like that, you get there that much quicker.
Give me the top 5 areas that are still open.
We've got Rockford, Illinois, Bloomington, Indiana. Corpus Christi, I think, is a great market. It's got a good amount of national business. We've got Scranton, Pennsylvania. We've got Buffalo, New York. We've got, Tyler, Texas. So
That's plenty.
Yeah.
But and you also get a large territory, because anybody looking at franchising right now is used to hearing they might have X amount of households or businesses, but it's a normal territory. This is a super large territory.
Yes, that's going to be something that you're going to find unique with our brand, is they really are empire builder-esque model. So you think about some of the competitor brands might call them master franchise license or development agreements. You're not going to bring in franchisees underneath you, but from the size and the geography that you have, it really walks and talks like some of those other master agreements that you see.
So what have you seen go wrong in franchising? Obviously, if you're not out there selling and doing the work, that's a problem. But in citywide, you're not, you have some employees, but there's a lot of contractors. There's a lot of third parties you're contracting with. There's some national vendors in place and things like that to make it easy. But what are the traits of the highly successful franchisees? What are they doing in their first 90 to 120 days or first 6 months that other franchisees might not be doing?
The most successful I see had that B2B sales history and experience. They've got that muscle memory to go out, and they know how to hunt. Not only do they know how to hunt, but they know how to hire, fire, mentor, and that great dynamic sales team, because you're not building a $22 million, $25, $50 million citywide location by yourself. Like, you're just not. Right. So you have to have that ability to be the kind of person that people want to work for. You have to be able to retain top talent. And so you'll see that those people that have, that B2B sales history, maybe as individual contributors, but then also led sales teams and have kind of, worked through the kinks of that, know how to lead, and I think grow a great dynamic sales team and win together. I was a B2B sales lady even in my franchising career, but prior to that as well. And the leadership that I ever had that I respected the most was always those that were in lockstep with me to win. They wanted to help me get those wins. They wanted to help me get that big paycheck. And so I think that when our franchise owners operate in that way, that they win, their locations win, and their sales executives stay because they're happy.
I've heard it often. People say, I don't know that I want to be part of a franchise system. I want my first business and I might want an acquisition or I might want to do something myself. What do you say to folks out there looking for their first business and they're not sure about a franchise?
We had one of our franchisees on a group validation webinar.
And explain what that is for those who don't know what
Yeah,
that is.
so every single week we have a different franchisee that will come on and they'll spend an hour with our candidates talking to them about what it's like to be a day in the life of a Citywide owner. Talk about who they were before they came into Citywide. They'll talk about how they made their decision. They'll talk about what keeps them up at night. They'll talk about their EBITDA, their profit margins, their revenue benchmarks, just anything and everything those candidates need to know about kind of a discovery of this brand and evaluating if it's the right decision for them. So it's everything. It's an open book.
So then all of a sudden these candidates that maybe weren't thinking seriously about a franchise are thinking, this looks pretty plug and play if I work hard. Because again, if it's not, you mentioned already, you're looking for sales killers, there's some work. But the reality is, as much as the fact that anybody can get into a franchise or a business ownership, it's hard work, which is why not everybody does it.
Yeah, I get a lot of candidates, and I think that you see this a lot too, of why franchising and why can't I just do this myself? And I say, like, listen, maybe you can, but the reality is we have 115 franchisees in our system that have built 20, 30, 40, and $50 million citywide locations. I promise you that when you have the ability to get shoulder to shoulder with those kinds of human beings and they will answer your call, answer your email, support you in your business growth, there is nothing more valuable that you can get to that. I've owned my own business in the past. You've had yours. And when you can really align yourself with that high level of operators and entrepreneurs, that's an extraordinary opportunity, in my opinion.
So what do you say to those that think that they can just start their own business? No problem. Just, I don't need Citywide. I can do it myself.
Yeah, I think that that's an interesting question. And I think that they're going to find that it's much harder than they think. And the recipe that we have and the support center and the training and all of those things are imperative. And a lot of people, Scott Romero, like I said, on one of our group validation calls, he made a comment last week about how easy it is for people to get to, $1 million business. And he's like, but to get to those 10, 20, 30 million, you are not going to get there without a recipe, a model, and others who have went before you. People that know the pitfalls and know what are going to prevent you from taking and scaling, because that is getting a business from 1 to 5 and then from 5 to 10 and then from 10 to 30, just a whole different level skill set. And so I think that was really interesting when he said that to our candidates. I felt like it really clicked with everybody.
I also think of the trust factor when you see how many locations that Citywide covers throughout the U.S. And it also blew me away that I think you guys did like $700 million across the whole system last year as a company. Something crazy.
Yeah, we are set to go over $1 billion for 2026. We've got a big party that's going to happen in Kansas City. And we got really close to it. We thought we were going to ruin the celebration because we thought we might hit it in 2025. But fortunately for Jeff's big party, we got just under that $1 billion mark. So we're set we're going to be on our way for our big celebratory convention in Kansas City next year. So
I like the idea of a surprise $1 billion.
I know it was. It's like, whoa.
It snuck up on me. Final advice for those that are first-time business owners listening to this. How do you effectively explore franchising? Besides working with a broker like me, of course.
Yeah, as much as you joke about that, Lance, I think it's imperative because I have friends and colleagues in my sphere. I was just had a dinner with my best friend, and she's an incredible salesperson, and she made a comment. She's like, are people really is this even real? People are really making money. And I'm like, Monica, yes. People this is life changing. People are genuinely developing generational wealth through franchising. And so I realized, dang, I need do a better job of educating my sphere. But every opportunity is not the right opportunity for everyone. And so I think you do an incredible job of guiding them. Listen, this is your skill set. This is what's going to help you get to where you want to be, because it's not the same for everybody. There's people out there that if they knew, and once they discover how heavy the sales requirement is with Citywide, they're going to say, this is not for me. I have a skill set in technology, or I have a skill set in operations, or whatever that piece may be. And they're going to do better inside of a brand that aligns with their skill set. And we're really particular with our candidates and who we bring in, because we want them to be successful. If I identify that I know you don't have the skill set, you don't have the capital, you don't have the gas left in the tank to go out there and do that hardcore sales and business development, I'm going to tell you this, as much as the numbers are attractive because they're phenomenal, but if you don't have that muscle memory and that resume, there's going to be better opportunities. And that's where you come in. You're going to say, okay, you've identified that this is a no, we're in a great place. Now I can get you to that other brand that maybe is semi-absentee if that's what they want, because they want to keep their job or something like that. So I think that the work you do is incredible and really important.
Yeah, and you make an incredible point here, because I would show somebody that doesn't have that drive or that energy that you describe, or that B2B sales experience, franchises that are easier, and franchises they can do their $1 million to $2 million a year, still make great money, still make up to $400,000 a year, but Citywide isn't going to be for everybody. So I thank you, my friend, for being here.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
The heart of franchising, Adria Hartwig.
Thank you, Lance.
And let's do some more deals together and get some more people in Citywide.
Making change in lives.